This is why Wayne Gretzky was super overrated. Hey guys, welcome back to Hockey Hub. Today we'll talk about why Wayne Gretzky was super overrated. Let's head into it. Number 1. He never won a Stanley Cup after being traded from Edmonton. My earliest recollections of hockey as a youngster began when Gretzky was just winding down his time in Edmonton, winning his final of 4 Stanley Cup championships with the Oilers in 1988 before shockingly being dealt to the Los Angeles Kings later that summer. The reason I bring that up is because that was the last time Gretzky hoisted the NHL trophy above his head. He was never able to carry the Kings to a Stanley Cup title during his 7+ seasons in LA. The closest he came was in 1993, when the Kings lost the Stanley Cup Final 4-1 to Montreal, and he failed to deliver a championship parade to St. Louis or New York too. The Edmonton team Gretzky played on is widely considered to be one of the greatest dynasties in NHL history. Part of that was because Gretzky was on the team, but the nucleus of the Oilers roster went on to win another cup without him in 1990. If you're going down in history as the undisputed greatest to play a sport, I think you need more than 4 championships, especially when those 4 titles come surrounded by other superstars and in the first 9 seasons of your 20-year career. Number 2. He provided no physical presence. One of the other things I remember most about Gretzky in those days was opponents weren't allowed to hit him. I later learned that there was no actual wording in the NHL rulebook, it was simply something that was generally accepted and, for the most part, followed. Gretzky's shiftiness and on-ice awareness made him difficult to hit, but the biggest reason opponents shied away from lining up number 99 was because the Oilers had surrounded him with a few enforcers. Drill Gretzky into the boards, and you'll need to answer to Dave Semenko, Marty McSorley, or Kevin McLelland. In LA, it was the same thing, with McSorley or Jim Thompson ready to drop the gloves with anyone who dared to hit Gretzky. Once Gretzky got the puck, he was a magician with it, but he generally relied on his teammates to get him the puck, instead of bodying opponents off of it. Number 3. His stats are inflated by the era he played in. As I said earlier, the 1980s were the offensive age of hockey. From 1980 to 1986, the average goal against average for an NHL goalie was 3.77 or higher. To give that statistic some more perspective, the average GAA for an NHL goalie has been 2.77 or lower in 19 of the past 20 seasons. That's the difference of an entire goal per game per team. Gretzky fattened up his career totals during that time, when games featured 2+ goals more than they do now. He collected at least 160 points in 6 straight years. It would have been 8 if he had not missed 18 games due to an injury in 1987-1988, and cracked up the 200-point plateau 4 times in a 5-year span. Once goals started getting a lot harder to come by, however, Gretzky's statistical dominance dropped severely as well. He reached 100 points just once in his final 4 seasons in the NHL, and he won the league scoring championship just twice in his final 12 campaigns. If you were to adjust each player's points per game average to the era in which they played, Gretzky is no longer the highest scoring player in history. That honor belongs to Mario Lemieux with 1.66 points per game adjusted, with Gretzky coming in second at 1.61. Sidney Crosby isn't far behind him at number 3 with 1.5 points per game adjusted, or Bobby Orr, a defenseman, is 5th on the list at 1.33. Conclusion. If you were able to watch Wayne Gretzky in his prime, consider yourself lucky. I don't think there's any debate that he was one of the most offensively imaginative players to ever compete in the NHL. He anticipated plays well before they developed. He seemingly had eyes in the back of his head, and the area behind the net, previously considered the least dangerous place on the ice for an opponent to have the puck, became known as Gretzky's office because of how many goals he set up from that spot. But is he undisputably the greatest NHL player ever? I don't think any of us could ever say that definitively. As great as Gretzky was, he didn't revolutionize the game as drastically as Orr did, and he didn't have all the physical intangibles that Ho possessed. He benefited from the era in which he played more than comparables like Lemieux, and through no fault of his own, he couldn't dominate a game in the manner that Hasek did. I'm willing to accept the notion that Gretzky is the best NHL player ever. I might even agree with you, but it's not a claim that can be made without any debate. This brings us to the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss any of our videos in the future. Also, watch the 2 videos that are on your screen because I'm sure you'll love them. With that, I'll see you in the next video.